All right, so let's get rid of this. The whole idea here, we want to be able to fetch the state of our switch and then change our label here. So what do we need to do? We need to get our result label variable here, which is connected to our label user interface to the left. So we can say result label.text, right, is equal. Now we have our switch here variable. We can now access it saying my switch dot on. If you look closely here, the moment we type on, it says bool on. What this means is that a switch returns a boolean, which means true or false, or 1 or 0. That's what a switch returns. Okay, so if we say enter here, we will have an issue here. It says cannot assign a value of type bool, which is boolean, to a value of type string. What this is saying is that, well, result label.text expects a string, not a boolean. For that, what we can do, we can proceed and say dot again and say description. What this will do will actually give us the value in a string form of the switch state. Okay, so let's save this and run one more time. All right, so let's see how this works. So, okay, you see it says false and true, false and true. Wonderful. Now that we know that switches give us true or false, we can do a lot of things with them, right? One thing we can do here, we can say, let's say we want to display a certain message here in our label depending on the state of our switch. We can say if, right, my switch dot on, we know it's going to return boolean. Then what we want to do, we can say we want result label.text to say something like switch is on, and we want to append the result from our switch. So we can say my switch dot on dot description. Okay, let's comment this out. So we're saying if switch is on, then our label here is going to say switch is on, and then we're appending the state. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this and run one more time. Okay, there it is. Let's try this. All right, switch is on, true. Perfect, that's good. Now let's go expand this. We can also say else, which means if Swift.on is not true, we want something else to happen. Let's go ahead and copy this and put it here. So let's save again and run. All right, so let's move. Switch is on, false. Switch is on, true. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. So as you can see, switches are very amazing because you can do a lot of things with them. You can branch things out. As you can see here, we have an if statement. Here I've shown you the basics on how to use switches and get the states of the switch. Now, one thing before we go, I would like to point out again is that inside, if you look inside of our func switch changed, we have this parameter here or argument. So what's saying here, we are passing a sender of type UI switch, which means we can access this switch here inside of our method here by just use sender, because this sender here knows everything about the switch that we are talking about here. So to prove to you that this works, instead of putting my switch, which is what we have created here at the top, I can just go ahead and say sender and put here also sender and save. You will notice that the app will still work as if nothing has changed. Okay, let's try it. Okay, switch is on false, switch is on true. Still working. All right. And again, don't worry too much about functions and this parameter things here. We'll talk into more details later. Okay, so great. Go ahead again and play around with this concept here. Definitely you can go ahead and change the text to say something else other than this, right? All right, so go ahead and play around with this concept and I'll see you in the next video.